Today, we are talking about postpartum weight loss and breastfeeding, something that I am constantly asked about all of the time. And I'm so excited for this episode today. We're also going to dive into how to support your body without feeling stuck between wanting results and wanting to protect your milk supply. I know how important that is as a mom. If you've ever wondered, can I get stronger and leaner without hurting breastfeeding? Or if you've ever felt confused by all of the conflicting advice online, this episode is going to bring you a lot of clarity. I'm joined by dietitian and lactation counselor Brooke Miller, and this is a real honest conversation about what actually works in real mom life. Enjoy today's episode. Feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or like you've lost yourself in the postpartum chaos? Whether you're 4 weeks postpartum, 2 years in, or done having babies, you deserve to feel like yourself again. Hey mama, I'm Val, a functional sports dietitian, postpartum fitness coach, and a mama who understands exactly what you're going through. Welcome to the Strong Nourished Momma Podcast, where you'll find simple, science-backed strategies to heal your core, rebuild strength, and restore your energy without the overwhelm. If you're ready to go from depleted to strong, nourished, and unstoppable, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, and welcome back to the Strong Nourished Momma Podcast. I'm your host, Val, functional sports dietitian and strength coach for mamas. And this podcast is all about helping you feel strong, nourished, and energized in motherhood in ways that are actually realistic and sustainable. If you've ever felt stuck between wanting to lose weight postpartum, but also wanting to support breastfeeding and your milk supply, you are definitely not alone. This is something that I struggled with as well, and this beautiful balance between the two. In today's episode, we're going to clear up a lot of confusion around that. I'm joined by Brooke Miller, who is a registered dietitian, lactation counselor, and a mom of 3. After walking through her own postpartum and breastfeeding struggles, she became passionate about helping moms not just get by after baby, but truly thrive. Her work focuses on helping moms feel as good, if not better, than they did before kids with a realistic, supportive approach to weight loss, nutrition, and motherhood that actually fits real life. This is a real refreshing conversation because we talk about weight loss, something that moms are interested in after having a baby. We talk about fueling, we talk about metabolism, and then breastfeeding without extreme. So just practical guidance moms can actually use. And before we dive in, if you enjoy conversations that help you feel stronger, more energized, and confident in motherhood, make sure you hit follow so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. All right, let's get into it. Hey, Brooke, how are you? Thanks for being on the show today.
Good. How are you? Thanks for
I'm
having me.
good. Thanks. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. So, you're a registered dietitian, you're a lactation counselor, and this is a topic, what we're going to dive into today is a topic that so many people in my audience ask for all the time. So, I'm
Mhm.
really excited to jump in. What led you to combine nutrition and lactation support for moms?
Yeah. So actually, my very first job out of college was at WIC. And so I was like kind of thrown into pregnancy nutrition, postpartum nutrition, feeding infants, formula, breastfeeding, and then feeding kids up to age 5. And what I realized in my first 2 years of that job was the thing I actually liked talking about the most and the conversations that I enjoyed most was talking to moms about feeding themselves after they had a baby and breastfeeding. I loved teaching moms about breastfeeding. And this was years and years before I became a mom myself. And so I had never gone through the experience myself, but just helping moms feed their babies as long as they wanted when it came to breastfeeding, and getting into conversations about moms saying like, "I'm just so tired," and really teaching them the importance of fueling their bodies well after baby. And it's not that I don't like talking about pregnancy nutrition. I just know so many moms when they're pregnant, they don't feel good. Like eating is just like not an enjoyable experience. I know I was very sick with all of my pregnancies as well, and so for me postpartum nutrition is just where I really found a strong interest, and then breastfeeding education as well. And so that is how I combined it. And then I went into a different clinical job for many years where I was doing tube feeding. And part of that, I would actually talk to moms who were pumping for their babies. And so I still got to talk about breastfeeding in that realm. But at that point, I realized, okay, I really miss talking to the moms about their nutrition as well. And so that's when in 2020 I opened my own practice, and I've been doing this ever since.
That's awesome. I totally agree with you because during the pregnancy period, it's It's totally different. It's up and down, especially when it comes to nutrition and feeding mom. And
Yeah.
postpartum is a time where, like, mom's nutrition has a direct impact on baby. And
Yes.
then the result of breastfeeding and how that's going to impact your supply. So that's super cool to be able to bring those two together.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love helping moms, just like, especially in that first few years after they've given birth, because for so many moms, they feel like they don't have time to fuel their body. They don't have the energy. They're like skipping meals on accident. And just when you understand the impact that that has on your body, on your feeding, like once moms understand how important nutrition is in this season of life, it can truly change their breastfeeding experience, their energy, their mood, their metabolism, how they show up as a mom, their marriage. It's so crucial for how you feel in general.
It changes so much. So I'm excited to dive into and ask you so many different questions about that. So
Yeah.
I first want to talk about, because something we see on social media a lot, and you even post really funny reels and memes about it, but we're often told, okay, if you breastfeed, the weight's just going to fall off.
Hmm.
Just breastfeed and you're going to lose all your weight, but that's not the case. So why doesn't that happen? Why are we told that? And
Hmm.
two, why doesn't breastfeeding actually impact that with the weight loss?
Yeah. So, why we've been told that all of our lives, and actually, this is so embarrassing, but when I became a lactation counselor, I was teaching breastfeeding classes and I was like, hey, did you guys know if you breastfeed, you can burn X amount of calories in a day? And so, it is true that your body expends energy to make milk. That is a true statement. And so, when people hear that, or even obese or midwives even hear that, sometimes they're like, oh, well, breastfeeding burns calories, therefore you're going to lose weight. And while, yes, your body expends energy to make milk, your body is also very depleted from going through birth and going through pregnancy and making milk. And so, if your body is so depleted and it doesn't feel safe, then your hormones and metabolism, they're not going to release weight. They're going to hold on to weight. So the key is, how can I get my body, my hormones, my metabolism in a place where they feel safe? And how can I eat enough calories, especially protein, to sustain my milk supply? And when we're eating the right balance of macros, and we don't have to be obsessive about counting macros by any means, but when we're getting enough protein and fiber in our diet and healthy fats, not only is that going to transfer into your breast milk, but it's also going to make you feel better. It's going to protect your milk supply and it's going to keep your hormones and metabolism happy. And so it's not as simple as just breastfeed and burn calories. While that is true, your hormones and metabolism in this stage of life play a much greater impact in your overall weight. And that doesn't mean that you have no control over it. It just means how you fuel your body in this season of life is very specific and different than how you did before you had kids, or how somebody does when they're postmenopausal.
So it totally different. And I think that's a time, like, after having a baby, when moms often think, I have to eat less to lose this weight. I'm
Mhm.
going to be breastfeeding, so I'm going to be losing weight. And then I just eat less, when really that's just having a detrimental effect. And I like how you said you want the body to feel safe. So can you explain? Let's start with the signs that you're currently seeing with moms who are underfueling physically, mentally, emotionally, when they're underfueling and nutrient depleted and they're breastfeeding. What are the signs that you're seeing?
Yeah. So some telltale signs are exhaustion, even when your baby starts sleeping longer stretches. So a lot of moms just think, well, I'm just exhausted because my baby's waking up and cluster feeding. While that's true, what I will tell you is I had my second two kids didn't sleep through the night until they were 15 months, like at all. And I was waking up in the middle of the night breastfeeding and I still woke up feeling good and energized. And my OB at 6 weeks was even like, what is your secret? How do you have energy? And I was like, I fuel my body. Like that is my top priority, especially in the first 6 weeks postpartum. So, exhaustion specifically, a lot of moms will notice when they're getting better sleep, better quality sleep or stretches of sleep. So that's one. Excessive hair loss. So some hair loss is normal because of estrogen shifts, but if you're still losing a lot of hair, that's also a sign of depletion. Cravings is a big one. This can be a sign of different deficiencies, but or blood sugar imbalance specifically. But especially if you're not eating enough protein and fiber, cravings are going to be a huge one. Brain fog is huge. This is especially when you're not getting enough omega-3 fatty acids and those healthy fats. And then brain fog is also true with nutrition deficiencies. So those are kind of the telltale signs. Like if you're easily irritable, if you are having cravings all the time, like you're constantly thinking about food, if you're exhausted, if you just don't feel energized, those are the telltale signs. Now, if you are deficient in certain vitamins or minerals, it can also lead to low milk supply. So, especially if you're really, really iron deficient, this could lead to low milk supply. And then if you're under eating calories, this can also lead to low milk supply. So, especially if you're in the first 6 months postpartum and you're trying to eat 1,800 calories or less a day, like your milk supply will probably dip. That is not near enough calories, especially if you're eating that many calories, you're definitely not getting enough protein in. And so, those are just some telltale signs that either you're not eating enough total calories. And I don't want people to hear that and think, oh, okay, this just means when I'm breastfeeding, it's a free pass. I'm going to eat everything in sight. I'm going to eat everything I want. I'm going to eat 3,000 calories and it's all going to be cookies and cake and fast food. Like, that's not what I'm saying either. What I'm saying is your body needs to get in enough protein and fiber and healthy fats and vitamins and minerals to properly heal. And what most moms don't realize is your vitamin and mineral needs are highest after giving birth. And I think a lot of moms think, well, my third trimester, that's when I'm like growing this baby. And that's when my, vitamin and mineral needs are going to be highest. But you're actually the most high, like, or you need that, like, you have the highest needs after you give birth. And one of the biggest mistakes I see moms making is just stopping their prenatal vitamin once they give birth. Like, that is, if you take one thing away from this, like, do not stop taking your prenatal vitamin. Like, keep taking it for years and years and years. Like, it is not going to harm you. Continue taking that vitamin.
I like that you're explaining all of that. Those are a lot of different symptoms that I think moms can often just think, well, I'm a mom.
This is just mom life now.
This is just
That's what
mom life
society
and I'm
tells
gonna
us.
be
Yes.
tired forever.
Yep.
But it's different when you're just tired versus like that exhaustion, like you were
Yes.
explaining. And I think that's big. So we want to make sure we're eating enough. So in terms of energy, that's calories. And you
Mhm.
said 1,800 calories probably isn't enough. What would I mean, obviously it's going to be individualized based on
Mhm.
what the mom is doing and her needs, but what would be a good starting place, or how are you coaching your clients to estimate how many calories they need?
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously base it off of different factors. So I really like to look at how often are they breastfeeding because that plays a role. If you are, let's say, pumping or making 20 ounces of milk a day, and then somebody else is making or pumping 40 ounces of milk a day, that mom who's producing 40 ounces of milk a day, she's going to need a lot more calories in a day. So, my first son, I was an overproducer. I was an exclusive pumper before his open heart surgery. He was a preemie. So, like, he wasn't taking in a lot at 4 pounds. And so, my calorie needs my first time around were actually so much higher because I was producing so much milk. And so, how much milk you're producing plays a role. If you just delivered in the last 30 days, you're going to need more calories, protein specifically, and vitamins and minerals than somebody who's 6 months or a year postpartum. And then your activity level too. So if you're 6 months postpartum and you're breastfeeding and you're active and you're strength training, like you're going to need more calories than somebody who's 6 months weaned and not active. And so it is hard because there's not like a one size fits all, but I will say general recommendations if you're breastfeeding at all, do not dip under 1,800 calories a day because there is a lot of research to show that your milk supply will dip. So that's general. In general, when it comes to protein, if you're breastfeeding, most moms are going to need well over 100 grams a day. Again, it depends. If you weigh more, you're going to need more. If you're strength training and breastfeeding, you're going to need more. So that varies as well. But I would say most moms that I see and work with who are breastfeeding, they need at least 100 to 150 grams of protein in a day. And that's like really kind of the focus when moms get into my program is like, how can we make sure that we are meeting our protein needs, getting in enough fiber and really getting in those high nutrient dense foods from specific vitamins and minerals. So, how can we get some salmon into our diet or greens or fruits and vegetables? How can we get a variety of these things so that we can try to get some of our important vitamins and minerals from food alone and not just rely on supplements, although supplements are really important in this time period as well. So it's hard to gauge specific calories. I would say most moms who are breastfeeding are getting between, 2,000 and 2,800.
Mhm.
And the 2,800 is going to be closer to those moms who are like, they gave birth a month ago. They are pumping a lot. They're an oversupplier. And a lot of it depends too on how active you were during pregnancy, what your metabolism is doing. Like if you worked out your entire pregnancy and you have a lot of muscle mass, your metabolism is functioning and it's moving faster than somebody who was not active at all. So there's so many factors at play
Yeah.
when we're looking at nutrition. But in general, focusing on protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals, if you only do that and focus on blood sugar regulation, you're going to be feeling so good, so much better.
So much better. I like that you said it's not just a one size fits all. It's going to vary depending on from woman to woman, but also just yourself. I know when I was postpartum and when I started getting back into exercising, I was breastfeeding about 8 times a day. And with the exercise, I was trying to get around 3,000 calories.
Mhm.
And that is hard
It's
to
hard.
do, especially when you're thinking of like real whole foods, right?
Yeah,
And
real
not
yeah.
just
It's easy if
eating
you're
out.
eating fast food all day, but
Exactly. It's super easy, but you're not gonna be getting the protein, you're not gonna be getting the nutrients, you're
yes.
not gonna be getting the fiber, and so it can actually be really hard to do, um, and it's really easy to go under, so I
Mhm.
think that's important to mention. Now you talked about protein, I love that, protein and fiber, protein and plants, at least 100 grams, but probably higher than that,
Mhm.
especially, and what's that's gonna help support milk supply, you said?
Well, and healing after birth.
And
And
the
so I
healing,
think
okay.
a lot of moms think after birth, the healing process is just like that first 6 weeks, but it can take some moms a lot longer to physically heal. And so definitely protein is so crucial for healing, for muscle. If you are going to start strength training, then and you want to maintain or gain muscle mass, then protein is crucial. It helps keep us full and satisfied. Protein is so, so, so important. And then again, those vitamins and minerals, those are especially important because if you are deficient in one or several vitamins and minerals, this will drastically impact energy, mood, healing. It can slow down your healing process and it can even put you at risk for postpartum depression in that first year. So if you've given birth in the last year, you are at risk for postpartum depression. And if you have any vitamin and mineral deficiencies, you are just increasing that risk. And so I'm not saying that if you meet all of your vitamin and minerals, like you're never going to get postpartum depression. But when I look at treating postpartum depression, I think sometimes we need medication, sometimes we need therapy. And regardless if we do either of those options, we have to make sure that we are addressing the vitamin and mineral deficiencies as well. And when we do that and then maybe add medication or therapy, that's where moms are going to get the best results with their mood.
That makes sense, and a lot of you're gonna be so depleted after having a baby and, like, everything sucked out of you if you're breastfeeding.
Mhm.
So, when we're talking breastfeeding, we're talking, of course, we wanna make sure we're eating enough, also for physical recovery and
Mhm.
for our mental health. We wanna make sure we're eating enough calories, we're getting in enough protein, we're getting in a variety of vitamins and minerals. Which, vitamins, or at least your top ones, are your main focus when it comes to not only mom healing and recovering, but transferring to baby via milk?
Yeah. So I think when we're looking at transferring through your milk, then your most important one that you want to focus on is getting in enough of the omega-3 fatty acids. And it's so easy to take an omega-3 supplement. So, like, we should just be doing that. And then any types of fatty fish, like salmon, if we can get that into our diet. Um, and then things like avocado and olive oil. But omega 3s pass through your breast milk. That helps your brain function. So it helps prevent that mom brain, but it also helps your baby's brain function. And so that is one of the top things that I focus on when a mom is breastfeeding, just ensuring that she's getting enough of the omega 3s. And then some other things that are important, getting your iron checked can be helpful because if you lost a lot of blood during pregnancy or during birth, and if your iron is especially low, then you may need to eat high iron foods with vitamin C, but you may also need to take an iron supplement. So I don't recommend everybody take an iron supplement. That's just based on your labs specifically. Magnesium is so crucial for mood and sleep and muscle recovery. And so I drink a magnesium supplement every night. I love it. It can help you sleep. I think it's so important for just our brain function as well. And so definitely magnesium is a good one. Probiotics can be helpful. Obviously, any way that we can improve our gut health, it's going to improve how we feel. And then I love taking electrolyte supplements as well. I think that just getting in some electrolytes, or even just drinking some like coconut water, getting in that for hydration is going to be really important. And then, of course, like I said, just taking a good quality prenatal vitamin, and then vitamin D would be the other one, which most women are deficient in vitamin D anyway, but then especially after you give birth, you're more likely to be deficient. So I would definitely take a vitamin D supplement. And I know for me, I was taking like 1,000 IUs during pregnancy and before baby. And then I got my vitamin D tested and I was still low. So then I had to up it to 5,000 IUs. So even if you're on vitamin D, get your labs tested because you may need to increase that dose, especially if you're breastfeeding.
Looking at vitamin D, mom's typically going to need a lot more vitamin D, obviously, because she more than likely will be low after having a baby,
Mhm.
growing a baby, and having a baby. But for enough to transfer in the milk to get to baby and for
Mm.
it to be beneficial,
Yeah.
then doses are going to be higher for mom, right?
It's a lot higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really if and you can supplement your baby with vitamin D. So they make those vitamin D drops. So you can absolutely do like a culturelle type of probiotic, baby probiotic with vitamin D drops. So I think those are great. I
Mhm.
gave my kids those. So you can absolutely do that. But yeah, if you are trying to get enough vitamin D to your baby through breast milk alone, you're going to need to be taking at least, I would say, 5 to 6,000 IUs a day. So it's pretty high. And so I know one of like my omega-3 supplement has some vitamin D, and then I take a 5,000 on top of that. So I'm getting around it's around 6,000 IUs a day. I think it's
Nice.
6,400 is like kind of that top range. But yeah,
Okay.
if you're not giving your baby any drops, then you definitely get your vitamin D tested just to make sure you're not like overkill. But
Mhm.
I can guarantee that your vitamin D is probably going to
Probably
be
low.
low.
You're probably pretty low on a lot of things, especially
Mm.
depending on stress and how we're eating. Let's talk hydration and electrolytes. So we talked
Mhm.
about energy, we talked about vitamins and minerals. Let's talk about hydration because that can be really hard of course, it could be hard to remember to eat after having
Mhm.
your baby, let alone drinking enough. So, how do you coach your clients to be able to stay hydrated and get enough fluids?
Yeah, I mean, I think just having a water bottle with a straw is like one of the best things that you can do, and then bring it with you wherever you go. Just like building that habit of every time you go to sit down to pump, every time you go to breastfeed your baby, every time you go to eat, every time you go sit at your desk, every time you go for a walk, like bring a water bottle with you. Drive. I mean, just my school drop off in the morning to like drop my kids off, it's like an hour, and I have to drop kids off at different areas. Like I'm in my car pretty much an hour and a half every morning. And so if I don't have my water bottle with me, like I feel like I'm dying for that hour and a half. And so
That's so
like
funny.
if you're in the car, bring your water bottle. So I would say first and foremost, just build the habit of carrying it with you wherever you go. If you are drinking coffee like I am right now, also alternate with water. Have a sip of water, have some coffee. And then I think, if you can first thing in the morning, wake up and drink some water or even water with electrolytes, that is just going to help you feel so much better, especially before coffee. So, something that I always say is like hydrate before you caffeinate. So, start with water, start with high protein breakfast. And then if you want to do some coffee or something later in the day, that's totally fine. But in general, hydration, we do have higher needs while breastfeeding. I do hate that there's like this myth going around that if your milk supply is low, it's always hydration, and like the cause is, or the fix is just chug and chug more water. We don't want to go crazy and overdo it. So if we're way overhydrating, we're drinking way past thirst and pushing it so hard because we think that that's going to be the magic solution to our milk supply, that can actually worsen milk supply because that just diverts water away from our breasts and out through our urine. So in general, if your pee is clear, if your pee is very light, you're doing great. So just kind of aim for that. You don't have to be obsessive about it. But if you go to the bathroom and your pee is dark, that's your sign that you need to go
Sign. Mhm.
drink some water. Yeah.
I like having water bottles. I remember I had water bottles, and I don't have a big house, but I had water bottles in every single room.
Oh, yeah. I have clients like that too. Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
have to, like, I'll always take one in my car. I had one in
Mhm.
the kitchen, one in the living room, one in the like, all over the place, and it was so helpful just to constantly be reminded, "Oh, yeah, I need to drink some water," with
Yeah.
electrolytes especially, so,
Yeah, and I
um
think, there's so many good electrolyte brands out there. I love
Mhm.
the LMNT. I like the
Me too.
salty kind. My husband hates it. He likes the liquid IV, which they make a liquid IV, I think, with less sugar, just so you're not
Okay.
like spiking blood sugar in the morning. So there's more of the sweet and salty electrolytes. And then if you don't love water, I love sparkling water. So if like addicted to carbonation. So if you are like a soda drinker and you love the carbonation, try switching over to sparkling water because that at least will get you there. And then worst case, if you're like, I hate plain water, I hate sparkling water, like I'm either drinking soda or juice or like nothing at all, then you can get something like a Crystal Light packet or like something, it doesn't have to be that brand, but like just something to flavor your water. Obviously you can throw fruit in your water, but any
Mhm.
way that you can get in fluids is important during this time. You can even do something like a Propel drink or even
Yeah.
like a Gatorade.
As long as you're getting it in at that point, right? It's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
better than
yeah.
just having soda and juice all day. Just get
Yeah,
it in. We
exactly.
need some fluid. We need some
Yeah.
water. Or you've been mentioning blood sugar, so let's dive into that. How does blood sugar play a role in postpartum hunger, our cravings, and feeling stuck when it comes to weight loss?
Yeah. So really the key with blood sugar regulation is we want to keep, our insulin levels happy. And so if we are going way too long without eating, especially breastfeeding when our energy needs are higher, if we're going 6, 7 hours without eating during the day, our blood sugar is going to drop so low. And then when our blood sugar is really low, we're going to just want whatever's quickest. Like, I'm starving. I need something quick. We're usually going to grab something that's more convenient. And we're usually going to grab something that's going to spike our blood sugar and then we're going to crash. And that's where you're going to see the energy crashes, the mood swings. Again, blood sugar dysregulation is also going to make postpartum depression or anxiety worse. It's going to make cravings so much worse. So, again, you're already at risk of having cravings, I would say, postpartum or while breastfeeding because your energy needs are higher. So your body's like, hey, I need more fuel. I need more fuel. And for a lot of moms, if you're not keeping blood sugar regulated, you're like, I need any fuel. I need anything at all, whatever is convenient. But at least if you keep your blood sugar balanced and your body's like, hey, I need more food, you're not going to necessarily want like the high sugary things or just the processed food. You're actually going to want real food. And so, yeah, in general, blood sugar regulation, it's going to help keep your metabolism and your hormones happy. And especially mood and energy. That's like the number one things that moms say is once they get their blood sugar under control, they're like, my mood is better, my energy is better, and my cravings feel in control. And if those three things feel better for you, like you're going to just feel so much better. And then weight loss is typically a side effect of that. So many moms gain weight because their blood sugar is dysregulated. And so if your blood sugar is dysregulated for a long period of time, weight gain is a side effect. And then when you get blood sugar regulated, weight loss is a natural side effect of that.
Yeah, it's not a fun feeling when your blood sugar's going up and down, which mostly down you're gonna feel. You may not feel it when it's, like, high, but when it's down and it's low, you're gonna
It's
feel it,
horrible.
and it's not fun, and that can
No.
just be a teaching moment for yourself. It's not like, "Okay, you're bad, you suck." It's just, "Okay, this is how I'm feeling. Let me listen to my body. Let me tune into these what my body's communicating with me, and what do I need?" So you mentioned hydrate before you caffeinate and then have a balanced meal before you caffeinate because that will also support blood sugar. So when you are building a meal, what is your meal consisting of in terms of macros and m- maybe even, if you're thinking of specific nutrients, but probably more macros to keep it generalized. What does that consist of so that you do support blood sugars?
Yeah, so I always focus on getting protein on my plate first. So I kind of build my meals around protein and then I try to get some sort of fruit or vegetable on the plate or both just to get in some fiber and then healthy fats, which I love cheese. So like I feel like I could throw cheese on anything. I love nuts, olive oil, avocado oil. So like those are some just easy things. I feel like healthy fats are actually pretty easy if you're just kind of topping Yeah, topping your Greek yogurt with berries with some nuts, like that's such an easy way, or nut butter. And so that's how I typically build my meals. I'm a meat eater, and so my breakfast is always eggs. I love eggs; they're so easy. And so, excuse me, my breakfast is typically 3 eggs and chicken sausage, and I throw veggies in my eggs, and then I have berries on the side, and that breakfast keeps me full and satisfied, and it tastes good. And then when I get home, then that's when I have my collagen latte, which is what I'm drinking now. So then by the time lunch rolls around, my goal is to have at least 50 grams of protein in before lunch even happens. And I think that's where a lot of moms go wrong, is a lot of moms get to lunch and they've only had maybe 10 grams of protein. And like, if you make it halfway through the day and like you haven't even hit, half of what your needs are, it's going to be so hard. And that's where the cravings are going to get so much worse at night. So in general, like, if you want to keep it very simple, just think of, can I put protein on my plate? Can I put some sort of fiber? So especially fruits and vegetables, and can I get a healthy fat? And if you keep it that simple, like, you're good,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, you don't need to overcomplicate it. I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in being perfect with macros and like getting obsessive about it. And we really don't. We really don't. We just need to focus on getting all of those components at our meals and snacks. Because if you have just a banana for breakfast, your blood sugar is going to spike and crash. But if you want a banana, you can have a banana, but you need to have some protein on your plate as well. And then can we add some nut butter with the banana as well?
Mhm.
And then you're going to have a complete breakfast if you have that banana with some nut butter with maybe some Greek yogurt or eggs or something like that. That is going to make you feel so much better than just that banana alone. So it's not, demoralizing like any specific foods or saying any specific foods are bad or off limits. It's just, how can I eat in a way that is going to support my body feeling full and satisfied for the next few hours?
And also being able to meet your needs, which can be really hard if you're not thinking about it, or just having something that's like high carbohydrate. So of course you're going
Mhm.
to then negatively impact blood sugars, but then it's going to be really hard for you to meet your protein needs. And so I think the balanced plate method, it's so easy, and that's
It
just a
is.
really good starting place, and you can kind of adjust from there. And I always tell my clients, like, let's try to identify, okay, if you have your carb, if you have your protein, if you have your fat, what are you missing? You're missing your
Mhm.
plant foods, you're missing your veggies, or try to keep it as balanced as you can. It doesn't even have to be the most perfect meal. Let's just think in terms of balance and getting most of that protein in, because it's so easy for people to get to dinner time, like you said, and just be so low. And then it can make it even harder to feel like you can have to reach at least 100 grams. But if you're
Mhm.
getting 30, which it sounds like you are from your breakfast, right? A
Mhm.
minimum of 30, 30, 30, you're easily gonna, with some snacks, then you're
Mhm.
easily going to hit that goal. So I like that method.
Yeah, and I think, I love snacks. Like, I think they're such a great eating opportunity. And I think a lot of people think of snacks as like snacking is bad. But when you're breastfeeding, I look at snacking as this is an opportunity for you to get in more vitamins, more minerals, and more protein. So, how can you find a snack that's going to do those three things for you? So, my go to snack is just Greek yogurt and berries and a little nut, like whatever nuts I have on hand. It's fast, it's easy, and it's going to be another eating opportunity for me to meet those needs. And the cool thing is you can eat the same snack every day for weeks. Like, it's fine. You don't have to come up with all these crazy ideas. And even for some moms, for blood sugar regulation, if you're like my family where we eat dinner at 5 because I have 3 tiny kids and like they're going to melt down if we don't eat by 5, and I don't go to bed till 10, sometimes I want to have a bedtime snack, quote unquote. And so there's a lot of times where the kids go to bed and at 8 p.m. I have, string cheese and beef jerky or something like that, or and crackers, or an apple and peanut butter and chocolate chips or something like that. Like, it's not a huge snack necessarily, but it's also okay to eat after dinner time, depending on, a lot of people won't need to do that if they eat a later dinner and then go to bed early. You don't necessarily need that. But just looking at snacks as another eating opportunity to keep blood sugar regulated, to meet your vitamin and mineral needs, and then, of course, get in some either fiber, healthy fats, and protein.
It is going to make it so much easier. It's going
Hmm.
to make it so much easier, especially depending on time and how much you feel like you can eat. Because some people are like, I can't eat that much
Hmm.
in one meal. But if you have just a good size balanced meal, and like when I talk to my clients, I'm interested to know what you think. A lot of the times people think, oh my gosh, 250, 300 calories is so much for a meal. And I'm like, no, that's like a snack. That's like my
That's a
snack.
snack,
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're breastfeeding,
especially if you're
right?
breastfeeding. Yeah.
Especially if you're breastfeeding. So let's try to get like our meal's going to be a lot more than our snack, but the snack's going to just make it that much easier for you to get to the 2,500 calories or the 3,000 calories that you need to be
Mhm.
able to make milk, recover, reach your goals, support your baby, support your blood sugar. So I like that you said that because yeah, snacks aren't bad and often they are demonized too.
Well, and you're going to notice a difference. So like the first 6 months of breastfeeding, if you're exclusively breastfeeding 8 to 12 times a day, you're probably going to need 3 snacks a day and 3 meals. But if you're past a year, I'm breastfeeding gosh, she's almost 18 months now. That's crazy. I'm still breastfeeding, but I'm only breastfeeding twice a day now, and my meal and snack intake is not the same as it was when I was breastfeeding her at 3 months. And so that's also something I think a lot of moms will hear like, oh, eat more when you're breastfeeding, but they don't also adjust for when they're breastfeeding less often. And so also keep that in mind. At a year postpartum, if you're still breastfeeding, that's amazing. You're probably only going to be breastfeeding 2 or 3 times a day, maybe 4. But your baby's eating a lot of solids and foods, and they're not so dependent on you. And so your protein needs are going to go down. Your body has healed, hopefully fully from birth. And so you're at this point where you probably will notice like a drop in snacks. So like I only eat 1 to 2 snacks a day now, but when I was breastfeeding like full time the first 6 months for all 3 kids, I was eating 3 snacks a day. And so also just know that it's normal to make adjustments as you wean and breastfeed less.
It's okay to be flexible because I mean,
Mhm.
within that first year, especially, so much changes. There's so
Mhm.
much change. And I remember some nights, even if I was, maybe I wasn't, I'd have to really think about it. But I thought, like, okay, I was having my meals, I had my snacks, I was doing really well. But I would get up in the middle of the night and I'm hungry. I'm like, okay, well,
Mhm.
here's my Lara bar. I'm going to have my Lara bar or something
Yeah.
right there if I'm going to support that and listen to my body. But your snack intake is definitely going to be totally different. That's a good point.
Well, and I always tell moms too, if you're waking up in the middle of the night to breastfeed and you're hungry,
Mhm.
that is a sign that you did not eat enough protein early in the day. And that's a
Yeah,
sign you need to start doing a bedtime snack.
that's a good point. So
So,
before you go to bed, have the snack versus in the middle of the night eating something.
yes, yes, absolutely. If you wake up hungry in the middle of the night and you are breastfeeding, like that is like your body needs time to rest and digest.
Yeah,
We actually need to have a break. And so it is important to actually give our body that 8 hours, especially at night when we're sleeping, to not eat, because what ends up happening sometimes if we eat in the middle of the night at 2 a.m., it can actually keep us awake and it can be harder for us to fall back asleep because our body's digesting. We just got a little dopamine hit and our little blood, even if it's a balanced snack. And so that's just a sign of, oh, I fed my baby at 2 a.m. and I was hungry. Okay, that means tomorrow I need to eat more protein and I also need to incorporate a bedtime snack. I need to eat dinner at 5 or 6 or whatever, and an hour or 2 before bed I have to eat something with protein and fiber and healthy fats. I need to get that in before bed, because if you do that, then you will wake up in the middle of the night to feed your baby, and if you want to have some water, like that's totally fine. And I'm not saying like eating in the middle of the night is horrible, it's bad. It's just that's a time for your body to rest and digest.
yeah,
And that's just a signal that you want to get curious about, of like, oh, I'm hungry in the middle of the night. Okay, that means I didn't do a good enough job of hitting my protein targets. And tomorrow I can focus on that. And
exactly.
tomorrow I can incorporate a bedtime snack. Boom, like problem
Boom,
solved.
yeah. And I think that's what I did too, because it was only like once, maybe twice, but it wasn't like an every night thing where I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm
And some moms,
hungry."
it's an every night thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's just your
some
body
moms I talk
communicating
to,
with
they're
you.
like, "Oh, it's just normal. Like I just feed the baby at 2 a.m. and then I go have a snack." And I'm like, again, it's not that snacking's bad, but I'm like, no, you need to like feed your baby and go back to bed. Like you
Yeah,
need to rest. You need your body to rest. And I'm like, no, that is a telltale sign that your blood sugar is dysregulated
yeah.
and you are not hitting enough protein and you need a bedtime snack. And then once they start doing those things, they're like, oh, I wake up in the middle of the night and feed my baby and I fall back asleep. That is what we want.
Yeah, and that's just like even with someone who isn't breastfeeding, right?
Yeah,
Like if you're waking
totally.
up in the middle of the night and you have a low blood sugar and you're hungry, we're probably not eating enough or depending, on timing
Mhm.
earlier in the day. So using that as again, it's not bad, like you said.
Yeah.
I did. It happened to me.
Yeah.
I had
It
it, but
happens to all of us at
you're
least
going
once or
to
twice.
just use that as okay, that's a sign. I need to just do this the next day.
And I think that's the biggest like mindset shift that I want moms to take away from this is if you have cravings, if you're moody, if you have energy crashes, I don't want you to feel guilt or shame or like I'm failing. I want you to get curious about it and think like, "Oh, what is my body trying to tell me?" If your body's having cravings every day at 7 p.m., get curious. Don't judge yourself and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm horrible." It's just my body is, that's interesting. I'm having cravings for chocolate at 7 p.m. every day. I wonder why that is. It's probably because my dinner wasn't balanced enough. I probably needed more healthy fats, more protein. Oh, you know what? I skipped breakfast this morning. Oh, my sleep was horrible last night. Like our sleep directly impacts leptin and ghrelin, our hunger and fullness hormones. And as breastfeeding moms, we're not necessarily getting great sleep. And so getting really curious about any of these symptoms that you're having, and instead of judging yourself, just really saying, okay, what is my body trying to tell me that it needs? And then nourishing it in that specific way.
And that can be just so much more positive going from
Hmm.
that curiosity mindset. And even if you start to notice the negative mindset or the self-talk that's like, "Oh my gosh, you're the worst. Why did you do this?" or "I'm
Hmm.
failing." Let's just try to get a little bit curious as to why. Just asking questions. So I like
Hmm.
that. I think that's amazing. What are some of the biggest mistakes moms are making? I think we've kind of already talked about this, but if you have anything else to add, that moms are making when trying to lose weight postpartum that actually makes things a lot harder. So even if it's, let's
Hmm.
say, past 3 months postpartum and they're ready to lose weight, lose fat specifically, what are some of the mistakes that they're making?
Number one, skipping breakfast or having a low protein breakfast. That is huge. So just having coffee for breakfast or just not enough protein at breakfast. That is, I would say, one of the top nutrition ones. Skipping the vitamins, supplements, being deficient, and just not addressing that at all. So not eating the high vitamin and mineral foods and skipping supplements. This one is not necessarily nutrition related, but going to bed, like choosing to go to bed late because we already know as moms, like we don't know what our night's gonna look like. Last night, my 18-month-old was up 3 times. She woke up my 3-year-old. Like I was up 3 different times last night, but the night before I got 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And so as moms, we don't know how often our baby's gonna wake up in the middle of the night, but we get to control what time we wind down, what time we go to bed. And so I think controlling our bedtime is one of the best things. I know that it's hard when we put our kids down. We only get so much alone time and that time is precious, but scrolling until 11 or 12, it is not doing your leptin and ghrelin hormones, your hunger and fullness hormones any favors. It's not doing your metabolism any favors. So really prioritizing an earlier bedtime. And then strength training is another one that's not, specific to nutrition, but building muscle is one of the best, most important things that you can do. So I'm not saying you should like never go on a treadmill or an elliptical, but I would not spend my time there personally. As moms, like we only get so much time to move our bodies. And so for me, the biggest game changer was every morning I wake up before my kids, I do a 20 to 30-minute strength workout and that's it. And then I go for walks with my kids. And I'm doing the workouts in a way where my heart rate is getting up high. So you can have absolutely, like, that, like you can build it in your strength to get your heart rate up. And then walking is obviously very low impact. It's free. It's accessible. That is going to help stabilize your blood sugar and it's going to help your cortisol, your stress hormone. So walking is one of the best things you can do. But yeah, from a nutrition standpoint, I would say the biggest mistake is the breakfast. Like if you can dial in breakfast, get that really consistent high protein, and then get your blood sugar regulated with that balanced plate method, and then continue taking your supplements and making sure again go to your OB, go to your PCP, and just get basic lab panels done and see, do you have any major deficiencies? Check your vitamin D, check your iron, check your B vitamins. Get some of these things tested because it could be as simple as just taking a supplement or adding in, a high iron, let's say snack or something like that.
I think adding in the breakfast or making sure that is like your focus, that
Yeah.
just starts off the day
Oh, yes.
great. It starts
Hmm.
off your day amazing. And it can make a big impact on how you're feeling, your blood sugar, your milk supply, how you sleep, which we just
Mhm.
talked about. So, and I totally agree with you when it comes to the cardio. Like if I have time, like if I only have a certain amount of time, I'm going to choose lifting heavy weights. If I only have 10 minutes,
Absolutely.
than like going to sprint on the treadmill or going to do a hit class. And I think often moms want that because they think that's what's going to get them the results.
Mhm.
And so I think if we can balance our meals, get enough vitamins, minerals, our sleep, make that a priority. So it's not that you can't scroll or watch your Netflix. It's just,
Mhm.
hey, let's put a boundary on it at this
Yeah.
time. Let's put everything away. And then let's make sure that we're getting in that strength training when appropriate. I think that's all super, super helpful. And that can be
Mhm.
something you can still do while you're breastfeeding, right?
Yeah.
Lifting weights.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So, what a time after you have your baby, many moms don't want to step on the scale, but when they're ready to start losing weight, they may start to step on the scale, whether that's at home or when they are going to see their doctor for their
Mhm.
checkups. But what should moms focus on instead of the scale, instead of that number that they're looking down at during
Yeah.
this season? And the season may be even, let's say, the first 2 years or even the first year. Let's say the first year after
Mhm.
having your baby. What should moms focus on instead of the scale?
Yeah, so I actually didn't even own a scale until a few months ago because we're trying to get my son with celiac. He has celiac disease
Mhm,
too. So we're trying to get him to gain weight. So
mhm.
his nurse was like, "We need to get a scale in your house so that we can weigh him." But I think that first year postpartum, if you can avoid the scale, I would do it. And you might hear that and think, "But if I avoid the scale, then I'm going to gain all this weight." And so I'm going to preface this over the first year postpartum, I did not own a scale and I stepped on it at my 6 week postpartum checkup, my 6 month, like just primary care, whatever, physical. So I stepped on a scale twice. And then at 1 year postpartum, I stepped on a scale and I was like, holy, like I was under my pre baby weight and I had no idea. Like, I'm now 20 pounds under my pre baby weight. And that was without obsessing over the scale, stepping on it. And I think moms think if I don't step on the scale, I'm not going to hold myself accountable and I'm going to go off the rails and I'm going to lose all control. That is not true. So instead, that first year postpartum, I would say don't step on the scale if you can. Obviously, if you're at the doctor, and if it's going to be triggering to you, if you think that seeing that number is going to bring down your day, get you into a mental spiral, shut your eyes at the doctor's office. Get on backwards. Like the scale holds all this power, and it's crazy. It's crazy that it holds all this power. So if you think that the number on the scale will either make you feel a certain way in a good way or just like screw it, F it, I'm going to go eat this, that just don't step on it. You're not ready for it. You're not ready for it. And that might mean that you take a break for 5 years from the scale. So instead, you can focus on lab values. So that's why I think go get your physical, especially in that first year postpartum, go get your labs drawn because if you see, oh, my cholesterol is a little high, great, we can focus on that. Can we add in more of the fruits and vegetables? Can we get you moving more in terms of like walking more? Can we get you to eat more protein? Can we get you to eat more of the high, like the omega-3 fatty acids? Can we change some of your diet in that way? So I think lab values are so crucial. Your energy levels. So do you feel energized or do you feel exhausted? Because you can kind of rate that. You can even rate your energy on a scale from 1 to 10 every day. How am I feeling? Am I at a 10 or am I at a 4? Okay, if I'm at a 4, then that means that I need to tweak something. Even tracking, like how often are you binging or craving things? So if you only have 1 or 2 cravings a week versus 3 a day, then that means that you're going in the right direction. So I think focusing on cravings, energy, mood, and just overall how you're feeling. Obviously, you can focus too on like how are your clothes fitting because especially if you start strength training, you don't necessarily see the number on the scale change, but if you're building muscle, your clothes are going to fit better. You're going to feel physically better. And I think just wearing clothes that make your body feel good in that season. So that might mean that you're wearing a different size jeans the first 6 months postpartum than you wear the 6 to 12 months postpartum. And that's totally fine. Just find jeans or find shirts, find clothes that make you feel comfortable and confident. And that may mean that some clothes are just set aside for a season of life, and that's totally fine. So I think just really focusing on, and if you want to track something, track your protein. Like if you're like, I want the numbers, I want to know how I'm doing, track your protein a few days a week and see, are you within your range? And if you are not, boom, that is your core focus. How can I get that protein met? Track your fiber. I think that's another one where moms are just way too low. If you're getting 5 grams of fiber in a day, hey, we need to quadruple that, or 5x that. So can we track our fiber and our protein? If you want to track something, those would be the two things I would start with is tracking fiber, protein, your lab values. You can even do things like your blood pressure. There's other biometric data there, but in general, I think if you focus on those things instead and fueling your body and building healthy habits, you may have a goal by that first year postpartum that you want to exercise or strength train 3 to 5 times a week. Then can we just focus on building that habit versus focusing on the scale? Can we focus on drinking enough water, going from 5 cups of water a day to 10? Can we do that? Can we just focus on eating a high protein breakfast every day? So when you focus on the habits themselves and how your body's feeling, first off, that's going to actually keep you going, because if you know eating high protein breakfast every day gives you energy, keeps you focused, makes you feel better, in control of food, you don't have cravings, you're going to be way more motivated to continue that versus just seeing like, I think what happens for a lot of moms is they step on the scale and it's normal to plateau. Moms will be like, oh, I haven't lost a pound in a month. Guess it's not working. Screw it. I'm just going to, why would I work out? Why would I keep eating healthy? Why would I keep, And so I think that's the issue with the scale is if the number plateaus, a lot of moms don't feel any motivation anymore to continue going. And so you have to have other internal and external motivators to keep you going. So I would say when you're building a new habit, look for any type of intrinsic or extrinsic motivators. So for me, working out first thing in the morning, it helps my ADHD significantly. It helps my mood with my kids. Getting my 3 kids out the door in the morning is chaos. It's not like the most fun part of my day. But I noticed when I work out first thing in the morning before that, I feel way more calm and patient with them. When I skip my workout in the morning, getting them out the door is harder. And so I think you just need to ask yourself, like, when I'm building a habit, can I pull 1 or 2 things that I'm noticing that make me feel good about this habit so that is the motivation to keep you going? Because at some point, the scale's going to stop. We're not going to lose a pound a week for the rest of our life and get down to our baby weight. Like it's just at some point the scale is going to stop. And so you have to have other motivation.
Focusing on other things versus that outcome goal, and your weight is just your relationship to the ground, and it's not telling you what you're made up of. And so,
and it doesn't look at body composition.
No, it's not telling us how much muscle we have. And, that's going to shift even just for someone who didn't have a baby and just cycling regularly, right? Throughout the different cycle or throughout the different phases of your cycle, your weight is going to change. And so give yourself grace. Don't step on that scale. I like that. Get rid of it. Don't step on it. Hide it if you have one, or don't buy one unless you absolutely need to. But I like all of those things that can be super helpful to be able to focus on those other motivators versus that number on the scale, because that can be defeating and actually increase stress. And then that's going to make it a lot harder for you to lose weight and to reach your goals.
Yeah.
What's one simple shift moms can make right now to feel more energized and confident in their bodies again?
Yeah, I think energize, definitely the blood sugar regulation, and again, taking supplements. So making sure you're taking good quality, prenatal omega-3s, and then any other supplements that you may need depending on your lab values. And then confident in your body again. I really think it comes down to, you don't need to have a huge wardrobe, but do you have one pair of jeans that you feel really good in? And if you don't, go shopping and go allow yourself permission to buy one pair of jeans that you feel good in. You feel confident, they fit you. And same thing for like 1 or 2 shirts. Like you don't have to have this massive wardrobe, but I think when you're wearing clothes that fit you and make you feel physically comfortable, you feel more confident. If you're trying to squeeze into pants that you could fit into pre-baby and you can't fit in them yet, instead of judging yourself for trying to squeeze in them, and then every time you sit down, you're like, cool, now I have a muffin top, and you have this constant physical reminder of how uncomfortable you are, that is going to worsen your body image. So instead, can you wear something that makes you physically feel comfortable and feel confident? Like a color, like we all have different body shapes. So something that looks good on me may not look good on you, and vice versa, because we all have different skin color and hair color and body shapes. And so it's like experiment with different colors and types of clothing and just feel, that will make a huge difference for confidence. And I think for moms too, getting ready in the morning, I don't get ready every morning, but can you get out of the sweatpants most days? And even if you're not leaving the house, even if you're just doing preschool drop off, that will also build confidence. Just taking a shower, like taking a shower every day and maybe putting on mascara, it's not for anybody else. It's just to prove to you that you also deserve to be taken care of. Like we're not sending our kids to school in pajamas. And so can we do that same self-care to ourselves? Can we allow ourselves permission for that?
It makes a big difference when you can find clothes that fit you versus trying to fit in clothes that don't fit. Like, let's change that, because that's something I experienced. I went shopping and I took brand photos, professional photos 5 months postpartum. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get clothes, and they may not fit me in a year from now, but that's okay. Like, I'm going to get my clothes. I'm going to feel comfortable. And going to work, I did my hair. Like, it's so easy for me, especially with teaching group fitness, just to throw my hair up and wear fitness clothes. But I actually got ready, and it made a big difference when it came to my confidence. And I think that's something really worth trying. And it's not for anyone else other than yourself to just feel good and take care of yourself.
Yeah. And that may look like a massage once a month. It may look like getting your nails done. Like everybody's different, or going to get your hair cut, like a shower, a bath, whatever self-care feels like for you. Just because I think as moms, we tend to put everybody else's needs before our own. And it's just that, like, you making 2 minutes to get dressed or do your hair, that is just telling yourself, like, I deserve to be taken care of too. Even if nobody else sees me today. It's just that reminder to yourself that you're worth it.
This has been such an awesome conversation, and I'm so happy that you're able to be on the podcast. And I want you to be able to share with listeners, where can they find you? Where can they listen to your podcast and also learn more about your work?
Yeah, so you guys can come hang out with me over on Instagram at Nutrition for Mamas. And if you want to listen to the podcast, you can come hang out over at the Nutrition for Mamas podcast. And you can find that on YouTube or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And then I do have some free workshops and also a meal plan membership. So if you want just balanced, healthy meals sent to you every single week from me, then you can also join us inside Busy Mom Meals. And is where I just take that decision fatigue and mental load off of you. If you're like, I just want somebody to tell me what to eat, that is 15 minutes or less and high protein, healthy, then that is where you would definitely want to go.
That sounds awesome. Sign me up.
Yeah.
I'm going to put all of that information in the show notes. So go to the show notes, get that information, and check out Brooke's work and listen to her podcast. Thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
What a great conversation with Brooke, talking about breastfeeding and how we can support our bodies in the breastfeeding journey as moms and still be able to lose weight without sacrificing our milk supply. I really hoped you got so much out of it. Be sure to check the show notes, because I'm going to be including links for Brooke to be able to connect with her, as well as other information, my group coaching program, as well as a link to electrolytes, because we talked about hydration, the importance of staying hydrated, especially if you are breastfeeding. So all of that information is going to be in the show notes. Thank you so much, Mama. Stay strong, stay nourished, and I'll see you next week. Hey, Mama. I hope you loved today's episode. If you got something out of it or simply enjoyed listening, would you please take 30 seconds to share it with another mom who could use the support? And if you haven't yet, I would be so grateful if you could leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. It truly means the world to me, and it helps the show reach more amazing moms like you. All right, time to go chase my toddler around. Stay strong and nourished, and I'll be back on Monday with another episode. Talk soon.